Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mauni and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. I hope you all are doing good and I believe you all have enjoyed your Sunday as well. Dear friends, let's have a positive start. Let's welcome this week with something positive, something very important for our life management. It's the fear of loss, and that something will not last a lifetime, that riddles people with insecurity, jealousy, anger, depression, self-worth issues, panic, and a whole host of other negative emotions. The thing is that we inhale, right? We inhale to live, but we have, one of the most important thing to survive is air, isn't it? Oxygen, or the air we breathe in. Now, no matter how important this air is, right, we cannot hold that breath. We have to exhale as well. In the same way, right, if you see the life, then all the things that you have at present, may it be fame, may it be money, may it be whatever, right, your knowledge, your good friends, and whatever you can associate yourself or your life with, everything is like inhalation, right? One day, a day will come that you have to exhale these things as well. That means it will go away from you. And this is the nature of our life, right? Everything, whatever we have at present, one day everything will go away. So as we are enjoying this inhalation process, or we enjoy when things comes to us, we should also prepare ourselves, right? When ourselves, we should get ready from now on, and we should not clinch too much with the things, particularly the material things that we find around ourselves, because they are going to go away one day. Anyways, I hope we all will learn something out of this thing, and this is one of the reason I believe that most of the religious books and religious leaders, they talk about this thing, but it's people say that it is a very difficult thing to do, but I think that once we understand it, and once we slowly apply this sort of things in our life, then hopefully we can get there. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ provides pen drive and tablet courses for your exams, and all information pertaining to our pen drive and tablet courses is available on our website studyiq.com. Make sure you check it out. And I have seen a couple of doubts students have been asking me, that how should I download this PDF file. The thing is that you have three different ways to download this PDF lecture. First one is you can check out my Facebook page, that is Prashant Mauni. You can also get in touch with me with the help of my Facebook page. The second one is our Telegram channel. The link is given below. If you check the description of this video, you will find our Telegram channel's link. And the third one is that you can go to studyiq.com, and you will find a download section from where you can download this file. So let's crack on. The first editorial that we have is on banking on good faith. Now, about 1 lakh crore, let me repeat the figure here again. It's not just 1 lakh or 1 crore, it is 1 lakh crore rupees, right, is expected to be pumped into India's 21 public sector banks by March 2018, right? Public sector, that basically means government banks. They are going to get 1 lakh crore rupees by March 2018. Now, why we are giving this much money to the banks? The thing is that at present banks are suffering from this NPA issue, non-performing assets issue. And what happens when banks are having too much of NPA? They don't have enough money to give away as loans. So the loans, they become expensive, and when the loans become expensive, right, it is difficult for the people to borrow this money at high interest rate, and that will create a situation where people will think like, let's not borrow any loan at present, let's stick to our own boundaries rather than taking new risks, or you can say that rather than expanding new business operations. So in a sense, you can say, in other words, we can also say that the wheel, right, the wheel of economy, or its motion, right, or its speed will slow down. When the speed slows down, it creates more problems. So this is important. This is one of the reason why, or you can say one of the most important reason why banks are being given or will be given with 1 lakh crore rupees, right? I have a question as well for you regarding this recapitalization. We have talked about this thing earlier on as well, so I'm not giving the figure how much total money that will be pumped into our banks. The thing is 11 public sector banks, right, they are going to be under RBI's you can say prompt corrective action. This PCA stands for prompt corrective action. Now what this PCA or prompt corrective action is all about: when RBI deploys this PCA, basically it monitors the operation of weaker banks, right? There are 11 banks out of this 21. There are 11 banks. They are a bit weaker in the sense they don't have that much capital or money in their hand. They don't have that good management and other things, right? So to ensure that their capital, whatever they have, and the money that will be given to this 11 banks that are under this PCA, so RBI will keep you can say a close watch. You can also understand this thing by, if I put it this way, that personal attention will be paid by RBI to this 11 banks. Now of course you don't have to remember the names, or it's not that important why which banks they are, but the most important thing is that this close monitoring by RBI will conserve their capital and avoid the risks, right? This banks would be able to avoid risks. Of course, when I say, then for a bank the biggest risk is that money not coming back. Either it is turning into a NPA or a bad debt. Bad debt basically means the money will never come back to you, right? You have to forget that money what you have given out as a loan. So here are a couple of things that we have to understand why banks are being provided with money, as well as some banks are under PCA, so they will get a lease of life so that they can survive rather than this banks getting destroyed or dissolved, I must say. Then there are some international norms, they are known as Basel III norms, that every banks, right, banks all around the world, right, they have to follow this Basel III norms and avoid haircut. Haircut is not the physical haircut. Haircut basically means this bad debt, right? If you have given out 100 rupees and if you say that you are going to take a haircut, or when you read these things that banks are going to get a haircut, then you forget this 10 rupees that you have given out. So basically now you are worried about 90 rupees only. This 10 is gone. So this is, you can call it a haircut that banks have got. Now government has assured the public that no public sector banks will fail, right? It is, of course, they are government banks, and one of the reason why people deposit their money or they deal with these banks or they are in business with these banks is because government is the main, you can say, security provider. So government has assured that no public sector bank will fail, and it has also said that depositors' money will be safe under this FRDI. Now let me tell you that if you want to know more about this FRDI, then I have delivered a special video lecture that is available on our YouTube channel. Make sure you go through it. Very important topic. There is one more article that we are going to discuss today, about which we have delivered a special video lecture. And this special video lectures, we talk only about this particular item, right? We analyze it, we look at it from different angles, and this is how you build your capacity. So very important for all of you. I would recommend all of you to check it out. It is available both in Hindi and English. Now, these rating agencies around the world, and some of them they are in India, but mostly around the world, right? These international rating agencies, they are not impressed by the stand, or you can say this reform package, because earlier on as well, government has said that it is not just the money, but it will be accompanied. This money will be accompanied by some sorts of reforms, but the reforms that we see at present, they are not that targeted. It is believed that during the next phase, right, at present the government has given this 1 lakh crore rupees. In the next phase, money will be accompanied by some reforms, and some of the reforms that we can think of or that are important for the banks are identifying niche area. Niche basically means, say for example, if a particular bank, say SBI, let's say SBI, right, if SBI is good in giving away loans or in supporting handicraft, say for example, right, then this is its niche area. So there are many banks, this public sector banks, if they are expert in something in a niche area, then the government should support its strength, or it should add more power to its strength. Then there should be restriction on corporate exposure to 25%. If you are giving away too much amount of your loan to small amount of corporates, then if they fail, then your banks will fall with them as well. So this is a high risk strategy, so make sure that we restrict it to 25%. A new performance management system. Nothing works without good people, right? So performance management system is very important all across the board, right? From top management to bottom management, everyone in public sector banks have to perform very well. Only then we can see a sort of re-engineering. That's everything that we have got in this editorial. Now let's move on to another item. This is about a vote for state funding. Remember, we have talked about this thing, state funding, anyways, for new students, and this article is also providing some insight into our election, so we will analyze it in detail. This is one of the most important one, because for those of you preparing for all those exams in which you have mains examination, in which you face interview, you may find question on this thing, political, or you can say political, it is associated with politics. You may be asked a question on how or what are the steps that we can take to sort out election, how we can refine and re-engineer the elections that are going on. We know all this corruption and paid news, and there are many problems as well. There are good sides and bad sides of election process. The good side is that we are conducting, you can say, in size, world's biggest elections, right? Some of the places you can't even find electricity, and you find people from personnel of election commission. They are carrying this batteries and carrying this EVMs and ballot boxes and other things on their back, and they are traveling to the most remote areas possible in our country. So there are some good sides, but there are some negative sides as well, and of course we should always try to sort out this negative, you can say, our weaknesses into strength, if I can put it in this way, right? So Indian elections, world's biggest, they are world's biggest and most expensive in the world, right? Our elections can be compared, the expenses that we do during our election can be compared with presidential election of USA, right? USA's presidential elections are one of the most expensive in the world, and we stand right in the same category when it comes to expenses. Now you know that for political parties, they have to maintain their people uniform. When I say uniform, I mean to say that all these badges and insignias and other things, advertisement, transportation, all these meetings and public gatherings they do. So money is of course required, right? It is like carrying or conducting, you know, this mass marriages on regular basis. You know, this mass marriages that takes place in our country. So they are, means everyone contributes to it, the society in general, or businesses and stakeholders, basically they contribute money, and then only you can execute this sort of mass marriages. In the same way, right, it is not easy. Huge amount of money is required for political parties, because their top leaders, they have to travel on every single day. They are traveling from here and there, so their cars and their flights and everything, right, requires money, as you can understand. Anyways, the biggest chunk of money that political parties get is from corporate donations, big companies giving away, or big companies funding these political parties. Now of course one question would be there in the minds of many of you, that why big companies are funding political parties. The simple reason is that if, right, at present I am a big business person, right, and I want some license, or I want some permission, or I want government to make policies or design policies in such a way that will benefit my business. So I will give money to that political party. Say for example, the name of the political party is XYZ. So I will give money to this XYZ, and I will support this XYZ, and I want to see this XYZ forming government in near future or in next election. So when this XYZ becomes or comes into power as a government, it will design all those policies that will benefit me. So I would be able to make more money out of the policies that are tilted or are in favor of my business. I hope this you understand this thing. This is also known as a sort of nexus, right? Political or business nexus, most of the time it is known as. There are different names of it. Nexus basically means you have a sort of connection, a sort of hoodness, right? Brotherhoodness between political parties and corporate businesses. So this is the reason why you find donations, big donations coming from corporate world to political parties. Now in 2008, CIC, Central Information Commission, asked for this RTI, or basically RTI was applied on this political parties so that they have to file their IT returns. They have to disclose their income tax returns. Earlier on they were not disclosing it, but now they have to disclose this thing. And the biggest thing is that last year, it's been 1 year ago, during this 2017's budget, finance minister, and you know that it's not just Arun Jaitley we are talking about. When I say finance minister, and during this budget session, when finance minister is speaking something, then it is the government of India that is speaking or addressing us. So at that point of time, finance minister pitched for transparent method of election. He said that it's been 70 years since our independence, but even today we are not able to develop a sort of method that is transparent, that is free and fair. Because one thing is simple, as you can all understand, that there could be one talented or hardworking, or you can say a person, right, or a party that is actually working for the betterment of the people or for our country. But if that particular political party is not having any sort of money, if it is not having money in its hand to run all these expenses that are necessary to run a political party, then naturally it will be in a sort of disadvantage when it comes to a party that is richer, but their ethics can be questioned and things like that. So it is important to have for our country, if we want to see this democracy to survive and become more and more mature, then we have to devise a method of election that is free and fair. Now at that point of time, FM talked about this electoral bond, and it is basically considered as a magic wand, a magic stick basically, right? A magic wand that will sort out all the problems that we have, particularly this corporate donation and black money and other things. Because if you go through all the articles, all debates going on television, then one thing you will find, that if we want to get rid of black money in our country, then you may have black money in real estate and other businesses, maybe in gold and other things, but until and unless you don't sort out this black money associated with political parties, you are not going to see any sort of result. So it is very important. This is the reason why I said that this topic is one of the most important topic that you have in today's The Hindu. Now this electoral bonds, there are some things that I would like to share with it, a sort of background information, that anyone can buy this electoral bonds, right? You can buy this electoral bonds and you can give it to any party you like. Political parties would be having 14 days in their hands to deposit this money, right, or this electoral bonds. If they don't deposit this thing in 14 days, then of course money will be taken away from your account, and it will go to Prime Minister's Relief Fund. Then this thing, right, it will be displayed in your balance sheet, right, and it will also be there in the party's balance sheet too, this electoral bond or this transaction. But the thing is that there is you don't have to give your name. This is the main reason, right? It will keep all the things a bit secret, because what happens is that if I'll give you one live example. When I say live, I mean to say something, a company that we all are aware about. Like say for example, if Tata, right? I'm not saying that Tatas are associated with Congress or BJP. Any political party you can take. Let's say Tatas are giving money to XYZ. Now, if ABC, a party called ABC, is in power, and if Tatas are giving XYZ, which is not in power, and if ABC will find out that Tatas are giving money to this XYZ, then they can create some sorts of problem for Tatas, right? So it is better to keep names should be kept secret. And this is what this electoral bond is all about. This is a thing that FM is promoting or considering, that this is USP, unique selling proposition of this electoral bonds. Anyways, there are 3 steps that are taking us a bit back compared to or rather than taking us forward. If you see the things that used to be and what it is now, the first one is this 7.5 on an average 3 years average profit of a company, right? You cannot give away more than 7.5% of your profits to a political party. But now this has been this thing is deleted. So now you can give as much money as you like, and this will lead to more shell companies, fake companies basically. Second one is that amendment to Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, FCRA Act, so that now foreign entities or money coming from foreign countries, right, or foreign companies or people from different countries can support our political parties. So many a times you find that some country will be providing or funding any political party, and this can have a sort of mini colonialism in our country. The other thing is that this black money going outside our country and then coming directly to political parties. So this is a big issue too. And the third one is that political parties, right, when they were asked, this is just IT income tax return that we talked about here. This is about overall things going on in political parties. At the end of the day, political parties do get money from the government as well. So they do get a bit of fund from the government, some sort of exemptions and things like that. So when they were asked, political parties, that your operations should come under the purview of Right to Information Act, all parties all across the board, right, all parties basically were on the same page. They said that no, we cannot be taken under RTI Act. Now this proposed amendments to Income Tax Act and Reserve Bank of India's RBI Act will exempt parties from keeping records of donations made through bonds, right? So this is a big problem too. The other thing is that cash donation, earlier on it was 20k, right? So anything above 20k you cannot give it in cash. So what was happening actually is 19,999 rupees, right, was given to political parties in cash. So technically you have a loophole here. Same thing applies here. 1,999. If you give this money in cash, and say for example if you deploy or if you employ basically say for example earlier on you required 10 people doing all this doing this data entry. Now you would need 100 people, right? That's it. Or now you have more fast computers and things like that, so you can have this multiple entry. I can come and give you 1 crore rupees at your party place or your party house, and then you can do multiple entries, that 1,999 entry number 1, 2. So in one day you may have received, you have to make just a slips that you have accepted this money in cash. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So this is not going to be, this will not end this sort of problem. And there is a sort of a group called Association for Democratic Reforms. It says that 70% of party funding over last 11 period came from unknown source, that was in cash, and nearly 7,900 crore donations came from unknown source in 2015-16. One thing that we can do is state funding of election. State funding of election basically means that government gives money to political parties. And there are different methods. There was Indrajit Gupta committee in 1998. It talked about partial state funding. Our previous Chief Election Commissioner S.Y. Qureshi talked about full state funding, right? And one more thing, this is the article that I was talking about. You will find a special video lecture on electoral bonds on our YouTube channel, again delivered by me in Hindi and English. Again, I would recommend all of you to must watch this video too. So 2 videos that you have to watch, or 2 lectures, and both of them are important for your preparation. Now there are some countries, right, around the world where you find this state funding. So if you want to donate some money, then what you will do is there will be a bank account of the government of India. You give that money directly if you want to, say for example, give 10 crore or 10 rupees, everything will go directly to government of India, and then the government will distribute this money to different political parties, and you will get this thing once you win enough vote. So based on vote you will be given money. It's not that government will give you money and then you can spend or don't. If you don't spend, no, government will give you fixed amount of money based on your based on how many votes you have won. So this is a thing that can be worked out, and we can learn from the best practices that are going on at present around the world. So that's everything that we have to discuss with this article. Now let's quickly go through this one. This is about red alert on green box. This information here in the starting bit is important for your pre-examination. You find this sort of questions, right? So World Bank Ease of Doing Business, at present our rank is 100, but when we see our rank in this Environmental Performance Index, right, EPI, we are at 177. Earlier on in 2016 we were 144. The latest figure is 177. Very important for you. One more important information: who comes out with this environmental performance index? It's Yale University, Columbia University, together with World Economic Forum. You know that Prime Minister was in Davos for World Economic Forum. So just adding some important information, background things, so that you can remember this thing. So EPI is being produced by this basically 3 parties, and it works on 24 indicators across 10 issues or 10 issue categories. Now peers, when I say peers, I mean to say China and Brazil, economies that are growing just like us. They are performing well when we compare ourselves with them in terms of this environmental performance index. We have Government of India came out with some ambitious targets, strict environmental standards for coal-fired power plants. They are supposed to be applicable from January 2018. At present they should be applied. Then we have also decided that we are going to jump directly to this BS Bharat stage 6. We are at present at Bharat stage 4, right? This is Roman 4, this is Roman 6, and we are going to skip this BS 5 altogether. Electric vehicles, we have said that they are going to be on our roads very soon. You'd be thinking why I'm not giving you ears, because these things are in your questions for the day. National Solar Mission, we have decided that by 2021-22 we are going to produce 100 gigawatt from solar energy. Ganga will be cleaned as a promise, or a sort of a word given by Government of India to Supreme Court, that it will be cleaned by 2018. Now you know the reality, right? Things are not as when we talk about this solar mission, yes, we can do it. When we talk about this electric vehicles, then agencies are saying that it will take 2047, right, 2047 for us to see all electric vehicles in our country. Now World Bank and Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation, University of Washington, Seattle, says that air pollution, they have proved this thing from their research, that air pollution is causing 1.4 million premature deaths in India, and it also equivalent to a welfare loss equivalent around 8% of India's GDP in 2013. So if we are focusing, of course the sad thing is that we are paying too much attention to money and economy and things like that, right, rather than quality of life. So if we are comparing everything in quantity and in figures, then we have to also keep these figures in our mind, that things may not look that visible, or the damage is not that visible, but it is there and it is hitting us very badly. So we have to take steps. We cannot back down, because this I told you that 2018 it is going to be applicable. Now government has decided that it has extended the implementation date of this thing when it comes to, like say for example, electronic waste as well. Government said that private companies will recycle 30% of electronic waste, but now it has reduced it to 10%. So you can see that this sort of leniency will not work. We have to charge extra tax if we have to on petrol and diesel and other polluting agencies or other polluting businesses, and that money can be used for renewable and other things, or funding research and things like that. This one is about robots, a very out of the box thing, you can say. Now Google Photos, they can identify your photos, even those photos in which you cannot identify yourself. Tesla cars, how they are automatic driverless cars. Google Assist and Auto ML and other things, they are going to replace this doctors and other things. Anyways, we have talked about this thing, and you would be knowing about that artificial intelligence and more, you can say, automatic things we will get. It is going to cost jobs, isn't it? Earlier on, machines have taken away blue collar jobs, labor work, but now artificial intelligence and other things are going to take away white collar jobs as well, right? Our focus here is not about those things. Here we are going to focus on this moral conundrum. Basically, when we say this automatic cars, right, or this not automatic but this driverless cars, then the question is, who should a self-driving car try to save, its driver or a pedestrian? This is a very you can say interesting question, isn't it? The other thing is that we have to ask that, are we passing our biases to our machine? Because University of Virginia 2016 says this thing, that what is happening at present is that this machines or this artificial intelligence is associating women with cooking. And there are other things as well, all the stereotypes, because we are the ones who are making these AIs, isn't it? We are the ones who are feeding these things. So all the stereotypes and prejudice and all these biases that we have in ourselves, if we feed those things to this AI, then AI are not going to be gender neutral, and they are going to create all the things that will be done by them, right, will be negative. So there are many moral questions that we have to ask, and this is a very wonderful example that you can use for your mains examination, just in case if you have two very important points here. This one is about National Immunization Day. It was celebrated yesterday. We have talked about it. Nice that our newborns, right, the future generations are being protected or given a sort of cover against all these diseases. This one is about Chelameshwar, right, Justice Chelameshwar. He has said that he is not going to ask for any sort of job when he retires. So basically he has clarified that the stand that he is taking is not in favor of any government. He used to be affiliated with government before he became judge, but now he is not. This one is about new foreign secretary going to take over from 1st February. Issues that are in his hand, or the things that he will have to tackle with, is Doklam. He is considered expert in this Doklam thing, India-Pakistan ties and orange passport, and there are other things as well. With this, all borders will be fenced, but this fencing is not the physical fencing. This is going to be smart fencing, right? Because the terrain that we share with different countries, it is not possible for us, it is not practically possible for us to create physical walls. We have to deploy other sensors and technologies wherever we require satellite, and there are other things as well. Modi lauds woman power. He talks about women, and this is there are some important lines here. He talked about this Skand Puran, which is very interesting. He said that in Skand Puran, one girl child is, it is said in this Skand Puran that one girl child is equal to 10 male children. This sort of examples are very good, and this is something that we want to see as well taking place. Varun tells the speaker that the money given to or the salary should be reduced, or there should be a committee that should look after the salary of MPs and MLAs. Government is going to alter insolvency law, right? IBC. is going to be sorted out, and this one is about textile sector. It is seeking some sort of help from government because it faced this export problem and technology upgradation and things like that. These are your answers, these are your questions, dear friends, and that's everything that we have got to discuss in today's The Hindu analysis. I will see you all soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.